Jim Bullard is the former Chief Executive Officer and 12th President of the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, a position he held from 2008 until August 14th, 2023. And in July of that year, he was named Dean of the Mitch School of Business at Purdue University. So, Jim, great to have you here. So
great
nice
to be
to
here.
meet you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a Purdue grad,
Absolutely.
so always love to talk about Purdue. And it seems like there's so many exciting things going on with the business school. We've got the renaming. Mitch Daniels had the big fundraiser. There's a new curriculum. It's like transformed. Explain what's happening at the Daniels School.
Well, I've been thrilled to be asked to be dean of this reimagined Daniels School of Business, and it's a major project. I think Purdue has a great business school already, but we want to challenge the top business schools in the country, and that's my job. And I think when you think about Purdue as a whole, it's known as being one of the best engineering schools in the country. It's actually number 4 right now. So it's MIT, Stanford, Berkeley, Purdue. But Purdue's bigger than all 3 of these combined. So it's excellence at scale. And my job is to, take the prowess of the technology and the engineering, combine that with business, and turn out graduates that are going to be really successful in the business world. So I think at a high level, we've got absolutely have the right strategy, and we'll be able to create a distinctive brand to challenge the top business schools.
So that's the mission, and that makes total sense because we're seeing so much business is tech these days.
Oh, yeah.
NVIDIA, I mean, the biggest companies are all tech companies, Microsoft and Google.
Yeah, so I always say tech ate the business world, and it happened a while ago, but it's happening even today as we speak.
The valuations of these companies are amazing.
No, it's been stunning.
So explain the curriculum, then. How do you combine all of that together for the students?
One of the things that we have is, as an undergraduate major is integrated business engineering. So that kind of says it all. Okay. You can take some of the courses are business, some of the courses are engineering. You can tweak it a little bit based on your own wants and desires, and then we also have business analytics and machine learning. We'll have an AI requirement for all undergrads.
All
soon.
undergrads?
Yeah, in the Daniels School.
Okay.
And so there's just a lot to like about how we're combining business and technology.
How do you make sure you're on the cutting edge? Because I feel like AI has taken over the past year and a half. Then before that was kind of blockchain. And I mean, there's always kind of this new technology emerging. How do you stay on top of that?
One of the things that we do is offer executive education. Right now we're working with Eli Lilly. Lilly's in the top 10 of companies in the U.S. by market capitalization. Depends on the day, I guess. But so they bought an AI company, and then they had a classic business issue, which is what about the rest of the executive team that's not part of the AI team? So they want to get up the learning curve so they can figure out what they can do with AI. For them, it'd be a lot of drug discovery and related issues, but there are many other sort of classic business issues that they'd like to solve AI.
Sure, and they've got the weight loss drug.
So we just finished the first round of that just now. Dave Ricks is actually in the class. But we'll have other cohorts of executives come through that, and I also think we can do that with many other companies that are learning, wanting to learn about AI.
It feels like education is much more integrated with the business world than when I was at Purdue a couple of decades ago. But it feels like there's much more kind of interaction. They're kind of learning together in some of these cases.
Yeah, I think to have a great business school, you want to have a really good academic side to it. We have the econ in the business school, so I think that's one thing I really like. You get to learn your economics and accounting and finance, marketing and things, but then also I think real-world experience, I often call it experiential learning, internships, all kinds of stuff, special projects that you can really get a better sense of what it would be like to work at a particular company or to work on a particular problem, and the student can, sort of find their way better, I think, through that method.
Now, education, there's a lot of, it feels like it's being disrupted. We've got, of course, the high cost, and Mitch Daniels was so great about capping tuition, and there's been, you've seen the protests that we...
High cost, I've heard of it.
We've got the
not
protests,
at Purdue.
Purdue's been great.
We froze tuition now for 12 years in a row.
So, And there's, there's SAT, no SAT, there's protests, and as a parent of two teenagers kind of watching all this, I mean, how do you navigate this college atmosphere that we're in right now?
Purdue took the Chicago principles before I got there, which is that the institution doesn't take positions on the issues of the day, and we try to allow as much free speech as we can on campus. And there are rules around that, but you can say what you want, and healthy debate and under some parameters, I think has worked pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Purdue has stayed out of the news when those kind of things happened in a couple of months ago. Now, since you're on the Federal Reserve Board, let's talk about the economy and interest rates. I feel like we had a good jobs report, or at least the headline number was good on Friday. But there's been some other signs of slowing down. How do you see the economy right now?
Yeah, on the jobs report, I'd say it had some confusing signals to it. So maybe something to look at is just the percentage change year over year in the non-farm payroll employment. That has been just ticking down ever so slightly. In the beginning of 2023, I guess, if I have my dates right, it was about 2%. Now it's about 1.75 or so. So kind of slowly slowing down. And that does give you kind of a sense of this is an economy that has slowed down, but it's slowed down to a trend pace of growth. So not down into recession territory, but just down to a trend pace of growth. It was growing so fast in 2021 and 2022.
As we were reopening.
That was just unsustainable. So I think many here on Wall Street kind of took it as, because it's slowing down, it's going to go negative, but that isn't really what's happening.
And GDP has been a little weaker past couple times that's come in.
Yeah, although with this jobs report, I see the Atlanta Fed GDP now came back up over 3% for the second quarter. So if you combine that with a little bit weaker first quarter, you probably still have 2% growth for this first half of the year, right at trend. So that's consistent with what I've been thinking.
So the jobs report from the Labor Department was stronger than expected. Then we've got this household number that doesn't get as much attention, but it told a totally different story. I mean, how do you kind of mesh those two and figure out what's really going on?
Yeah, the household series is highly volatile. It's probably not picking up the immigration part quite as much as the non-farm payroll. So it's probably should be a little stronger than it appears. We did get the unemployment rate ticking up slightly, but the unemployment rate is still below what most people would say is the natural rate of unemployment. So we still got a little bit of room to maneuver on that. So again, I think normalization is the watchword here. Also, you've got job openings last week came down.
Yes.
So the number of vacancies to unemployed workers is 1.2. That's the same as it was pre-pandemic. That was a strong labor market pre-pandemic. So you've normalized quite a bit on that. That was up at 2 at one point and has gradually come down without increasing unemployment very much. So it looks like we're in pretty good shape on that too.
And inflation, of course, it's for some people, this is the first time they've really ever experienced any kind of inflation.
Indeed.
And interest rates tied into that.
Yeah.
And do you think there'll be a cut this year?
I think I like the market pricing right now. It's somewhere around 1.5 cuts for the rest of the year. They've got 4 meetings the rest of the year. Looks like July is not likely. So that's really 3 meetings the rest of the year. Whether they cut 2 out of the 3, I don't know. They would need some good data.
And we have an election. Would they cut or make any change at all before an election?
Yeah, having been on the committee for 15 years, I think it's perfectly acceptable, both inside and outside the committee, to go ahead and make a policy move if you feel you've got the data to support it, and if markets are basically understand the policy. So I don't think there's any reluctance to do that. Okay. You might create more problems than you solve if you say, okay, we're not going to move now, but then after the election, we're going to have to do a bunch of things.
Got it.
That's probably not the best time either.
Let the data dictate whatever happens and not worry about all these extraneous events.
Yeah.
Okay, so finally, Purdue this fall, let's bring it back to Purdue. I mean, what kind of exciting things are planned for the class of 2024?
We've had a great response. I guess I can't talk about the numbers exactly, but the response has been outstanding. So we have Lots of student interest, and I think it's going to be a banner year for the Daniel School.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm sure I'll be back there soon. So, Jim, thank you so much. It's
Sure,
great to
thanks
meet
for
you
having
and
me.
hear about what you're doing.
Yeah.